There. This is Steven from Utopian Labs. And today I wanted to make a video about something that was requested by many of our users and customers is how can you do lead generation, like cold outreach with Utopian Labs? There's multiple ways you can do this, but for this video, I'm going to be focusing on Zapier. Zapier as a platform to facilitate basically the entire lead generation flow. As a starting point, most people, when start doing lead generation, they have a list of people that they want to reach out to, right? You either use a company like Apollo or maybe something else, maybe a sales navigator or something like that, where you fetch a list of people that, let's say 1,000 people, for example, and you want to send these people, you want to get in touch with these people, right? There's multiple ways that you can do this. You can either put them in a Google Sheets, or you can have them in your CRM system like Pipedrive or HubSpot or something else. And today in this video, I wanted to show you how you can approach this with Zapier. So one thing I wanted to show you beforehand. So one of the examples that I'm going to be talking about is this. So this is Google Sheets with like a company name, all of this information about these people, and then some information here. And you see a status here as well, but I'll explain all about this. So to get started with lead generation, let's say you have a list of 1,000 people, right? You don't want to send all of these 1,000 people an email at the same time. You have a lot of things that you need to take into account, like for example, deliverability. If you just send out 1,000 emails at once, then every every spam filter is going to think you're a spammer or something like that, and then it's going to reject your email, meaning that you will end up in spam and stuff like that. So it's very, very important to spread out the number of emails that you send throughout a certain period of time, depending on how many leads you have. And the best way that we think you can do this is with the schedule by Zapier step. So with this, you can, instead of having like the traditional trigger where something happens in like an external platform and it triggers this Zap or this workflow, you can also have a step where or like a Zap where you can schedule it to trigger. So for example, here we're going to say we want to trigger it every hour, which means that it's going to trigger 24 times in a day. And then you can play with the time offset if you want. You can trigger it on the weekends, yes or no. You can just adjust that however you like. I'm just going to leave it to 0 and come back to that later. And then click continue. We can test this trigger. And now we basically have a Zap that starts every hour. And every hour, what we can do is we can just fetch a lead from somewhere, wherever you have it, and then start working with it. So maybe start off with a CRM example, Pipedrive, where you can, for example, fetch let's find a lead. If you have them as leads, you can also have them as a contact and search for certain things. I want to use this Pipedrive account. And then we're going to search for like a field to search by. I've seen some companies use a specific property or a specific field, which they gave a certain value. So, for example, research by Utopian, which is a Boolean, and then put it to yes or no. And depending on if it's yes or no, then it will be used in this flow. You can do all kinds of things, but just to keep this part easy for now, I'm going to use the owner, whereas the owner is then going to be me in this case. So I want to basically fetch a lead where I'm the owner for. And then exact match, sure, we don't want to create a lead, we just want to find the leads. And then we test this step, and then as soon as we test it, we'll probably get some data because we have here you see that we have found a lead, and then we can actually do something with it. So depending on how you build your list, there are multiple ways to approach this. Let's say you just got a list of 1,000 people from somewhere, and you want to make sure that every single person you send an email to is actually relevant, right? You want to qualify them. So what you can then do is you can use the Utopian Labs event that is qualify a lead. With qualify a lead, you can basically determine, is this person an ICP, yes or no? And then either remove them from your list or something else. So let's say we have the company website. Let's see if this one has a company website. Not yet. So what we can then do is use this step, the formatter, because the website, we can of course derive it from the email address. So what you can then do is use this format by Zapier step, which is very helpful and we use in other tutorials and other templates as well, where you want to format the text. Because what we wanted to do, if you have like Stephen at examplecompany.com, for example, if you want to have the domain, you split it right where the at, like the at sign is, and then you take the second part. And that's exactly what you can do with this. So you can say here, I want to transform, and then we're going to search for split text because that's what we want to do. The input is going to be an email address, and then the separator is going to be an at, and we're going to check the second index, because if you're going to split it at the at, the first part, the first index is going to be probably the name or the name of the surname or something like that. And the second part is going to be the domain, and that's what we're looking for. So we're going to test this. Awesome, cool, that works. And now we're going to move on to this one. So we're going to try this again, do the dynamic mapping, take the output from here, and then you see the website there. And you can basically fill everything with information from the lead. So you can find the full name, probably. There we go. You can have an email address. There we go. LinkedIn, all of the information that you think is relevant. You can add some context as well. Context is a very powerful tool where you can basically give additional information to the agent, like maybe something very specific that you're looking for, or where you got these leads, or where they're coming from, or something like that, where you can just type anything. And use memory is also a very powerful tool. We've touched upon this in multiple tutorials already, but just to be sure, as a recap, memory is a tool, like a feature, where if you run multiple agents in a sequence, like we're going to be doing today, you want to make sure that they can actually reuse the research that they did, right? Not that you have one agent and you do a lot of research and then you do something else. Basically, you want to qualify and then you want to write an email, for example. That writing an email agent, the copywriting agent, is you don't want it to do all of the research steps all over again. So memory is a tool where you can basically share. And by default, it is set to true. So you can either click it if you want to, you don't have to, because it's automatically true. Only when you explicitly say, I don't want to reuse this, then it's not going to be reused. So then we're going to test. And then we see here some test data. So this is not an actual run, but this is test data that you can work with to build your Zap. Qualification score high, qualification reason, and a research conclusion. And then based on this, you can do multiple things. You can either say, you know what, I want to have a filter. So I only want to continue this Zap if the qualification score is high. That means that if the qualification score is not equal to high, we do this like this, by the way. So we map the qualification score, then we say exactly matches high, and then we continue, because then you can test. Because it was high, this one, like the Zap would have continued for this test data. So this is basically a true-false binary statement. Do I want to continue? Yes or no? And then basically continue based on. And then this basically means that if the agent deems it not an ICP, then you do nothing with it, which is one option. You can also say, you know what, I'm not going to do a filter, but I want to do something with this data either way. But I want to make sure that I do A when it is a high qualified lead, or B when it's not. So for example, here we can say, like, do the same thing as with the filter. So when the qualification score exactly matches high, then we want to go this path. And then we want to do something else. And when the qualification score does not exactly match high, then we want to go this way. And because the test data is high, then it should see, yeah, perfect. Your path would not have continued for this test data because the test data was high and it needs to not exactly match high. So this both works. And now we can determine, okay, what do we want to do now, right? Let's say we want to remove the lead if it's not an ICP. Then you can go to Pipedrive and adjust the lead, or you can give it another, how do you say that? Another tag, or you can switch the owner, or you can do a lot of things with it. You can also send a Slack message or something else. And if it is an ICP, let's say you want to determine, we're just going to go all in right now. Let's say you want to determine the timing. So you know already that it is an ICP, but the fact that it is an ICP does not mean that it is also the right time to contact them right now, right? So you can also trigger a timing run, and then we do the same thing here. So we're going to say this is the domain and all of the other information. For the sake of this not being like a 40-minute video, I'm just going to not do everything because you understand the concept of the conditional mapping by now. But in any case, the more data you put in here, the better. Then you test the step, and then you get some other test data, which says like the timing reason and the timing score right here, and a conclusion of all of the research that it's done. And now you can do the same thing again, right? You can also say that, let's say a path for now. So when the timing score is equal to exactly matches hi, then we're gonna go this way. And if the timing score does not exactly match hi, we're gonna go this way. This is perfect. So this works. So you might be wondering now why I have done another path. There's multiple reasons for this, and I just wanted to, for the sake of this tutorial, basically go all out so that you can determine which parts of this of this app and workflow you want to reuse. But one thing that we personally use with Utopian Labs as well, which is a very, very powerful tool, is you can also add a delay. So add the delay here. You can say like you can either delay until a certain date, or you can delay for a certain period. So let's say we want to delay for 30 days, which is also the maximum that Zapier can do actually as a delay. And after this delay, we want to do something. So this, for example, if you have a lead list and that lead list consists of only ICPs, because you, for example, filtered out all of the non-ICPs or something like that, but you want to make sure that you only reach out when it's the right timing. You can also build a recurring workflow, which is a bit more advanced, but it is a very powerful tool where you say like, hey, I want to trigger a timing run, and every 30 days, like we delay for 30 days. So every 30 days, I want to check like, hey, is it the right time to reach out right now? And to prevent this becoming like a super long zap where we go like, wait 30 days, we're going to trigger another timing run, wait 30 days, trigger another timing run. As an endless cycle, we can also divide this up into multiple zaps. So what we do, like let's say you can divide this up into two different zaps. So let's say you find the lead, you qualify the lead, and if it's an ICP, you can, for example, give it a certain trigger or a certain how do you say that, a certain property or a certain value, basically. And then in a separate zap, you can also say like, I want to find a lead with a certain value, so not where I'm the owner, but that has a certain value. And that lead, I want to periodically check, for example. And as soon as you start doing that, you can change those values and make sure that it basically does not use the same lead over and over again. I will show that example in like later in this video. But I just wanted to give you the concept that workflows do not have to be a one-time thing. They can also become recurring if you do it the right way, which can be super powerful because you do not have to check everything manually. Again, you can just let Zapier do this. Just to finish this one off, and then I'll jump into another example. Let's say if the timing is right, we want to send them an email, but you know what? We do not want to send them an email. We want to basically write a sequence of emails. A sequence is like a chain of multiple emails chained together, which you can use in cold outreach. So here you can say, for example, I want to write it in American English or British English or any other language. I want to write 3 as a default, but I can also make it 2 or 4, basically everything up to 5, as you can see here. So the maximum number is 5. And then we do the same thing here again with the mapping. Again, I'm not going to go through everything because you understand how it works. Use memory, defaults to true, and then click continue. And when we test this, you'll see that another piece of test data, that we get a research conclusion, like all of the research that we've done. get a subject line for the email, and then get all of the emails like this. Then you can either send them back to Pipedrive and create an activity or create a note or something like that. So let's say we want to go to Pipedrive and we want to create an activity. Then we can have a subject, for example, the lead name or something like that, and add something to it. I want to assign it to myself. You want to link a person, which is like you can link people for two ways. So this is static. So these are people that are in our Pipedrive system. You can also, which is very important, make it custom. And with custom, you can basically link an ID, as you can see right here. And when you link an ID, you can actually link the object in Pipedrive that we're working with here. So this is a very important one. And then you can also add a note. And the note could be, for example, an email or the subject line or multiple emails or something like that. So you can put all of this in Pipedrive. You can also use another platform like, for example, Instantly. And then just send the lead all of its information and all of the emails to Instantly. That is also a very powerful thing, as you can see right here. So you can just add a campaign and Instantly just add these leads to it, and then Instantly will take care of the sending. That is also a very cool one. You can log it in a Google Sheets. You can basically do anything you want, and that is that is very important and very cool for lead generation. I want to show you one more thing. So let's say I'm going to remove this, and then it's probably going to okay, this is going to take a while. I should have. There we go. That was what I was looking for. So let's say we start all over again, and instead of using a CRM system, we're gonna use a Google Sheet. And let's say we have a Google Sheets with only people that are super relevant. So we use this template basically, and let's say we have 1,000 people here who already went through the qualification, so we actually know that they're an ICP, and then we're gonna be timing those, and then if the right timing is right, then we're going to be reaching out to these. And this is also where this part, the status, comes in, because in order to make sure that you do not run the same lead twice, which would of course be a waste of money, a waste of time, and it would also be inconvenient if someone receives 5 AI generated emails at the same time. We have this, what we call state management. So to show you how that works, so let's say we have a Google Sheets right here. Then we want to find a row, like look up a spreadsheet row. We want to use this one. And then we say we want to use my Google Drive. We want to use this Zapier example. Worksheet is a standard one. And then the lookup column is going to be the status. And the lookup value is going to be pending. Because if you recall correctly here, the status is pending. So these are the ones, or you can make it processed, for example. Or you can even add another one if you want, which is processing. So now you can basically say process, processing, or pending. And the reason we do this is because if we say here we want to look up and we want to look up value pending, then we only want to work with leads that have the status pending. If the status is anything other, like processed or processing, then we don't want to use them because that is already processed and taken care of, or they're currently in a delay, or they're currently running something. Like we only want to focus on pending. So let's say we test this, then hopefully we're going to get a result. This is the data that you saw here as well, with the test company name and all of that stuff. And as we said, these are all ICPs. We do not have to trigger a qualification run anymore. We can go straight to timing. So if we do this now, so let's say we trigger a timing run, and we're going to determine, hey, is this the right time to contact these people? So we're going to map this again. So you have the company website here, and you can map all of the other stuff as well. Then we're just going to run with it and see what happens. But what happens if you trigger another Zap like this? So let's say an hour passes and this takes more than an hour to complete. Then it might find the same row, and that's what we want to prevent. So this is the reason why we have that state management where we say we're going to add a Google Sheets, then we're going to update a spreadsheet row, and then we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to do this drive, this being this one. And then for the row, you can either have like a static version here, but if you click 2 or 3 here, and that's very important, if you click 2 or 3 here, then it would mean that it updates row 2 every single time. So that's why we do not want a static value. We want to enter a custom value, because what we want to do is we want to have the row ID, the row ID that we have here, because that means that as soon as like this app fetches row number 312 with the ID 312, for example, then this will automatically be 312 and it will actually update this row dynamically. And what we want to do is we want to set the status to processing, as you can see right here. So what happens now is we, let's skip the test for now, but we fetch a row and then immediately we take that row out of the equation for any future zaps, which is of course an important one, because then we are not going to run the same zap twice. So we're going to trigger this timing run. I'll just go through it, test it, get some data here, and then we trigger a timing run. And let's say we want to do 2 things. So we want to see, okay, if it's the right timing, we're going to do something. If it's not the right timing, we're going to wait. So let's say we are going to wait here. Let's first set these up. So this is it's basically the same thing as earlier in this video. So when this exactly matches high, then we're going to go this way. If this timing score does not exactly match high, then we're going to go this way. Amazing. And then we're going to delay. We're going to delay for what we said, 30 days. So you can also do it weekly or daily or even hourly if you want, but most of the times we say just wait for 30 days. So we're going to delay. We're going to test this just to get the data. And then what we want to do is after 30 days, we want to make sure that it is eligible again for the next step, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to, sorry, not Pipedrive. We're going to go to Google Sheets. We're going to update the row. And then we're going to go My Google Drive, Zapier examples, in this case, this one. And then we're going to, okay, now it says row 3, but we want to have a custom value. And the custom value is again going to be this one. And then we're going to leave everything be except for the status, which is going back to pending. So what we do here is we delay for 30 days. And after those 30 days, we're going to set it back to pending, because what happens then is that in this one, the lookup spreadsheet row, it can actually find this row again. And therefore you have this periodic lead nurturing, basically, where if it's not the right timing, we're going to wait 30 days and we're going to try again. And that state management, what's what we call it. It's basically a fancy word for just playing with values, and in a Zap like this, it's going to make sure we can do the periodic thing. So that is awesome. And then, for example, when the timing is right, we of course want to write an email to someone. So you can say like Utopian Labs, we're going to write, let's just say an email. We're going to do it in Dutch just for fun. Then we're going to have this test website, and then all of the other information, of course. Then we're going to get a subject back, markdown in HTML, as you can see here for the email. And then let's say we want to update the row one more time. We're going to go to this drive. We're going to go to Zapier workflow worksheet, and then again, not static, but custom. Use this ID, and then we want to set the status to processed, which is interesting and easier for us to manage. But apart from it, we can also do other things, of course. We can, for example, add the timing score and the timing reason to it as well for our own administration. Or we can add extra rows to it, sorry, extra columns to it, and just paste in the email so that I can check them beforehand. Or I want to, for example, connect my Gmail account, where we say we want to create a draft where we're going to send an email to the test email address. Let's see where the test email, there we go. I want to send, like, I want to use this subject line, and I want to use the markdown, because markdown is basically plain text. I want to use this, and then I click continue, or I can basically create a draft, or I can do any other kind of thing. So as you can see, a tool like Zapier combined with Utopian Labs can be very versatile. In lead generation alone, there's like thousands of different things that we can do. This is just a couple of examples that I wanted to show you with using Google Sheets, or maybe using a CRM system like Pipedrive, which you can also use for HubSpot or any other platform that you want. So yeah, that's basically what I wanted to show you, just to give you an example how you could do lead generation with Utopian Labs and Zapier. Again, I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys are going to be building with this. And as always, if you have any questions or need some help, or maybe some new ideas of awesome flows that you've built with Utopian Labs, you know where to find us. Thanks.